Hello YouTube and welcome to Photon Photography. In today's video we'll explore a range of Canon RF prime lenses, the 16mm f2.8, 35mm f1.8, 50mm f1.8, and 85mm f2. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced photographer, we'll take a closer look at each of these lenses and their unique characteristics and their best use cases. Let's begin with the Canon RF 16mm f2.8. This ultra-wide-angle lens is perfect for capturing breathtaking landscapes and architectural shots. One notable aspect of this lens is its compact and lightweight design. The 16mm focal length, while incredibly wide, is best suited for specific purposes. It's important to mention that distortion is noticeable with such a wide-angle lens, which becomes apparent when I tried to vlog with it on my original R6. The distortion and Canon's internal stabilization system created a really undesirable effect on my vlogging footage. Canon addressed this with a firmware update that required a slight digital stabilization and cropping. Despite this, it works well for vlogging with a full-frame camera and pairs nicely with an APS-C sensor camera, providing an effective field of view of 25.6mm for a cinematic look. The f2.8 aperture allows shooting in low-light conditions and in the right situations achieving pleasing bokeh, although ultra-wide-angle lenses aren't typically chosen for creating blurry backgrounds. In my opinion, this lens is purpose-built, and I don't personally use it frequently due to the noticeable distortion. However, it's undeniable it serves its purpose when you need extremely wide shots. The overall image quality is acceptable, although it may exhibit softer corners and chromatic aberrations. Considering its budget-friendly price point, it performs impressively, and I appreciate Canon offering such value for our money. Moving on to the Canon RF 35mm f1.8. This lens is incredibly versatile, making it a go-to choice for street photography, portraits, and low-light conditions. This focal length, 35mm, is one of my favorites. It strikes a balance between being too wide or too tight, offering great versatility. I've captured stunning images with the Canon RF 35mm f1.8 lens, including a breathtaking sunrise over a frozen lake in northern Vermont on Christmas morning. This lens excels in capturing vivid colors, sharpness across the frame, and effective distortion control given its price point. With the built-in stabilization, it's a fantastic choice for videography, especially since 35mm is a classic focal length used by many videographers. Additionally, its f1.8 aperture ensures excellent low-light performance and pleasing background blur for portrait work. The Canon 35mm f1.8 lens is a stellar value, and I wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone considering it. Now let's delve into the Canon RF 50mm f1.8. Often referred to as the Nifty 50, this lens is fantastic for portraits and achieving beautiful bokeh effect. This lens needs no introduction, as any photographer worth his salt is familiar with it. It's budget-friendly, sharp, offers good image quality, and with an aperture of f1.8 combined with the 50mm focal length, it's an excellent choice for portraiture. Canon has made modest improvements over the EF version of this lens, resulting in slightly better sharpness, contrast, and overall build quality. While it doesn't have the build quality of a high-end lens, it's on par with other Canon STM prime lenses, featuring a metal lens mount, and considering its entry-level price point, it's a commendable option. The bokeh it produces is impressive, and as a budget-friendly portrait lens, it gets a strong recommendation. Lastly, we have the Canon RF 85mm f2, an outstanding lens for portrait photography due to its longer focal length and creamy background blur. The Canon RF 85mm f2 lens excels in portrait photography for two reasons. First, its 85mm focal length is ideal for headshots or full-body portraits without requiring you to be too close or too far from your subject. Second, its f2 aperture allows shallow depth of field, resulting in beautiful background blur. Image quality is impressive with sharpness and chromatic aberration control, however it does have a slightly slower focusing system compared to the other RF STM prime lenses, especially noticeable in action shots. Despite this, it's not a deal breaker and can be helpful for video work and low light conditions thanks to its built-in stabilization. If you've made it this far into the video, you might be wondering about the drawbacks of these lenses. Canon's RF STM prime lenses are budget-friendly, which means compromises have been made to keep the prices down. Firstly, none of them have weather sealing. The STM focusing systems, while decent, are slower and slightly noisier compared to the Canon's higher-end USM motors. This is particularly noticeable with the Canon RF 16mm, 50mm, and 85mm lenses. When it comes to image quality, Canon's done an excellent job here, offering impressive performance for budget lenses. However, it's essential to note that high-end L-series lenses will outperform them in terms of sharpness, chromatic aberration control, and overall image quality. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether these lenses meet your needs. For most enthusiasts like myself, I think they provide excellent value. So there you have it, a closer look at the Canon RF prime lenses. Each lens brings its unique strengths to the table, catering to different photography styles and preferences. Remember to choose the one that best suits your specific needs. As always, my friends, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video.